What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here for the Wrestling Inc. podcast, June 22nd edition. This episode is brought to you by Fresh Clean Tees. It's a lot like a shave club, but they offer the most awesome t-shirts you will ever wear. Seriously, they look amazing and feel even better. To save 20% on your first shipment, go to freshcleantees.com and enter the code wrestling at checkout. I'm wearing one right now. They are fantastic. I love them. They sent me some great stuff. I am joined by Rob McCarron. Rob, how are you?
I'm doing great, Sean. How are you?
I am splendid because on my night off, nothing ever happens.
Well, I mean, yeah, there was a lot that happened yesterday. I saw you and Raj did the little breaking news audio. You had Jeremy Botter out there saying the UFC sale is done. You got a whole bunch of. Why is Tuesday your off night when everything seems to be happening on Tuesdays?
Well, it's going to be Thursday. The reason that it was usually Tuesday is my fiance would get off work a little bit early, and Impact was on, but I didn't have to cover Impact. Somebody else covered Impact for the site. Typically, I have been the last couple of weeks, but pretty soon there will be nothing on Thursday for now, because as some of you may have seen on my Twitter, I've spoken to several people within TNA that they are at least looking at other nights to possibly air Impact on. Nothing is concrete yet, but I was told that by several people that they are at least looking at different nights.
Oh yeah.
If that happens, what night do you think they should go to? Thursday?
No. Well, I mean, if it was in their control, yes, Thursday. They're not going to get Thursday. I mean, the Pop TV movies of the week that they put on Thursdays are going to do better for Pop TV than what TNA Impact will do. So, I mean, they can go to whatever other day they want. They can want to go to any other day. What will Pop TV put them on? I wouldn't be shocked. And I said this when we first got the SmackDown news. I'm sticking to it as far as I know right now. From any information I have, they can want it all day long. What day are they going to get? I think they're going to stay on Tuesdays. I think Pop TV is going to be like, listen, Tuesday's our weakest night. You're our weakest show. I mean, we can replay big. We can replay Philadelphia all week long, and it'll get better ratings than TNA Impact. We're going to keep you on Tuesdays, and I don't care if we take a 10,000 viewer hit because you're only bringing in 350,000 anyway.
So you think it'll only be a 10,000 viewer hit?
I think it'll probably be a little bit more, but I don't think it's going to be that huge. I really don't.
I'm sure their DVR numbers won't change that much, but
Plus advertisers. They go from 9 to 11. You're only competing for 1 hour.
Yeah, it's true. I will say I loved the show last night. EC3 and Drew Galloway took on Eli Drake and Bobby Lashley. And Eli Drake every week, I think, gets better on the mic than he was the last week. I said that he kind of reminded me of a guy who met The Rock and felt like he got that by osmosis. He's starting to separate himself a little more with each show. And I thought that these guys, outside of the Hardy brothers, are the four pillars of that company. And they did really good. Also, and the Hardy boys are still crazy as hell. Did you see that spot that Jeff Hardy did at the end of that match?
Yeah, the Hardy Boys don't give up for all that you can say about TNA, and they're probably not even doing it for TNA necessarily. They're doing it because they just love to do it. But yeah, those Hardy Boys, they don't quit. They've been doing it for the last 20 years by now.
Yeah. So to paint the picture, 6 sides of steel match. Matt Hardy is basically booked as a zombie, which is hilarious. He is put on a table. Jeff puts a chair flattened on top of him, then stacks a table over top of Matt and the other table. Then he gets a ladder, puts the ladder on the top rope, climbs to the top of the cage and like the very tip top of the ladder, then just falls through all the shit. That's Jeff Hardy, you guys. Very, very fun, good episode of TNA Impact. If you all didn't watch it, give it a try. I thought it was a really good show. Interested to see where they land, if they change. Personally, as a human being, I hope they stay on Tuesdays. They stay on Tuesdays. I want a night without wrestling so bad. But that's just me saying that because I got to work it. That's really it.
And, you have Dixie Carter out there talking about DVR, and a lot of their stuff is based on how many DVR viewers they're going to get. Well, if you stay on Tuesday, you can still get that DVR viewership, right? I mean, it doesn't have to affect anything else. So earlier in the week, I think is better for TNA.
Yeah, I'm hoping that happens too. Rob, we didn't get your take last night. Roman Reigns wellness test failure.
Well,
now, there are a lot of
wellness. Get it right. As far as we know, wellness policy failure. We don't know if he tested.
Yes.
We don't know if he tested for anything.
He could have failed to produce a urine sample for all we know. There is no concrete evidence on what the violation was for. Also, there is no concrete information, regardless of what anybody's heard, of when the WWE knew, because the report that was given was, oh, well, they knew before. But then one sentence later, the person that reported that said, I haven't heard from anybody. So there's really no way to.
We don't know when they knew. And, the wellness policy states there's 72 hours between when we get the test result before we can do anything, based on getting documentation from the talent, based on getting a second view, a second sample tested or anything like that. So for all we know, they could have known on Sunday, and then they couldn't have done anything about it until Tuesday or Wednesday, because Roman Reigns had the right to produce documentation to try and challenge it or explain it. If there was actually a test failure, it could have been anything. So we don't know what's going on. All we know is that he was suspended for 30 days. Bad timing for him. It would have been bad timing for him anytime at this point, because he's being pushed as their top guy. So it's absolutely bad timing. In one way, though, if he ends up working Battleground, because his 30-day suspension will be up a couple of days before Battleground, he could still, in theory, work that show. And they were announcing it on SmackDown as if he is still going to wrestle at Battleground. So maybe that changes. Maybe it doesn't. In that regards, I guess it's good timing for him. I just can't fathom that WWE would promote a guy who's currently suspended for 30 days that he's going to be wrestling at this pay-per-view when you would seem to have wanted some type of punishment. If he did test negatively or test positive for something, if he did violate your wellness policy, it seems like you would want to have kind of like you don't practice, you don't play type of mentality. If you can't be in the build up to this pay-per-view, we're not going to put you on the pay-per-view. And it's just a weird timing. I'm 50-50 on right now whether he actually wrestles at Battleground or not, because as much as there were graphics for the match on SmackDown's taping last night, as much as we haven't heard any word that he's off the show, I still at some point think WWE is going to either be pressured or just come to the realization that, hey, we probably shouldn't promote this guy on television for 30 days while he's suspended.
Yeah, we'll likely get the answer tomorrow night when SmackDown actually airs. If that graphic airs, he's probably still in the show.
Right.
Speaking of pay-per-views, there was a rumored list. I've actually seen a physical copy of this. If it was a fake, then it was a very well done fake. But rumored pay-per-views, the split pay-per-views. Have you seen this?
I've seen what people are passing around. I couldn't get it verified today. I tried. One last thing on the Roman Reigns note. I should say there have been people in WWE that I've contacted that said they were blindsided by it yesterday at the SmackDown tapings. They had no idea. There weren't even rumblings about Roman Reigns or any even type of drug test failure at all. So WWE brass may have known Sunday, but none of the boys or none of the wrestlers, none of the people backstage knew Monday or Sunday.
Indeed. So these pay-per-views, it appears as if SummerSlam, Survivor Series will be dual branded.
Yeah.
Backlash making a return, allegedly. These are all rumored. This is not confirmed.
Right.
Backlash and Clash of the Champions in September. Backlash being a SmackDown show, Clash being a Raw show.
Yeah, Clash being the former Night of Champions. If that ends up happening, it was funny because last week WWE filed for the trademark to Clash of the Champions. They hadn't done that before. Even when they released the Clash of the Champions DVD, they had not actually legally filed an application to trademark the term Clash of Champions. So them changing one of these pay-per-views or adding a pay-per-view calling it Clash of Champions is certainly reasonable.
It appears as if No Mercy will come back as a SmackDown event. Hell in a Cell will be a Raw event. Those would be in October. TLC is a SmackDown event, and Roadblock in December. So if this is to be believed, we get the No Mercy back, Clash of the Champions, Backlash. I kind of like that. I don't like doing split pay-per-views, but I kind of like the idea of bringing back some of the old names.
Sure. No, I'm with you on that one too. I will tell you, I don't believe this is true or that this particular list is 100% accurate. Just because it's odd that they would go back in time and basically put their past pay-per-views on the schedule. Unless you were to believe that this was been planned for so long that this was released before 2006 even began. I just don't think this this particular calendar makes a lot of sense. As far, because everything still is advertised as Night of Champions. I mean, if you want to, you know, break it apart right there, the pay-per-view in Indianapolis is still being advertised as Night of Champions on the WWE website, on the Bankers Life Fieldhouse website, everywhere, on Ticketmaster, everywhere. So it's at some point, if WWE has already decided to call it Clash of Champions, they would be changing all of those ads, and they would be changing all that, which has not been done yet. Roadblock, it would also be the second time this year that they have had a roadblock. They would literally have 2 WWE roadblocks in 2016. So I don't think that's going to happen either. There's a lot about this list that you can break apart to make it not true. I think someone's trying to have a hoax out there. I believe that they've added the pay-per-views. I mean, I'm not discounting that. I just don't believe these names are 100% accurate, the dates are 100% accurate, and the timeline is 100% accurate.
It's a good observation on the 2 roadblocks. There's no way they would let that happen. Just bring back Starrcade.
Bring back Starrcade. But that's the thing there is they have all these names. Bring back, you know, if you want to have New Year's Revolution, you know, happen a couple of days before the actual New Year, maybe, you know, have something like that. Sure. It's just interesting with those names. I don't discount the fact that there will be these dual branded pay-per-views. So it's funny too. I want to get your reaction. Because some of the reaction on Twitter when this was being passed around was like, oh my God, there's so many shows, I can't take it. And I'm like, this would still be fewer events than last year.
Would it?
Yes.
Well, yeah, considering the network special thing. Yeah. Yep, yeah, it would be.
In the East last year, you had MSG last year, and you had something else last year.
There would be no more of those, ideally, right?
There would probably no, because these would take the place of those special events, I would imagine. You also had the takeovers last year. You had 5 of them, and I don't think we're getting up to 5 this year. If you want to count that live finale of the Cruiserweight Classic, I get, but it's pretty even. It's not like this is a huge jump this year just with the brand split. It might feel like it next year, but it's not really that big from what WWE Network has kind of presented since its debut.
That's another good point that you bring up there. I mean, that's not something I had really taken into consideration. And
Elimination Chamber was the other one, by the way. Elimination Chamber happened last year, so that was the 3rd of the extra events. So really, we're just kind of getting those brought over to this year too, called something different, and putting it on pay-per-view on Sundays instead of Saturday.
Yeah, when it's put like that, I guess it's not so bad. It's just the idea of splitting those rosters in half.
Yeah,
when there's already so much filler. That's what I don't like.
Yeah, because that's true. I mean, the MSG show last year was kind of split in half as far as the roster, and so was the Beast in the East. But you had Brock Lesnar on those shows. Elimination Chamber did really feel like a true pay-per-view
as well.
What's up?
I feel like Roadblock was as well.
Well, Roadblock this year, yeah, because there was a house show in Atlantic City that night.
Yeah.
Like AJ Styles and Kevin Owens main evented in an Iron Man match opposite the Roadblock pay-per-view that we had that had Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn.
Indeed.
We got the worst show. Roadblock was the worst show. It had the best main event, name-wise, but it was the worst show.
Also, there is a pretty big Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
There is
this weekend. But we have some news going into the show.
Can I mention, just on the WWE pay-per-view note, all the talk about possibly having this July 3rd show that Shinsuke Nakamura was wrestling on in Hawaii. I think it was July 3rd. It might be July 2nd or whatever it was. If we're going to have these split branded pay-per-views, it looks like, I mean, it's next week already. I don't think that Hawaii show is going to end up airing on the network in any form, and we're not going to be able to see that Shinsuke Nakamura John Cena match.
Very true.
It's sad.
Very true. We got the news, not necessarily really surprising. We knew his contract was coming up soon, that Roderick Strong is leaving Ring of Honor. Doesn't seem like New Japan will be his destination, because if he could be there, he would already have been there with Ring of Honor. Where do you think he goes?
WWE. And I think it hasn't really been a well-kept secret that he was leaving Ring of Honor for the last 2 months. The same thing that's been going around with Moose was going around with Roderick Strong. Just Moose was playing it up more. I mean, he was going to WWE shows. He was posting on Instagram and stuff that he was, talking about leaving Ring of Honor. Roderick Strong is a pro. Roderick Strong wasn't doing anything like that until it was official. So there was talk amongst us. We all knew that Roderick Strong was leaving Ring of Honor. Where he goes was the question, whether it's going to be WWE, whether he goes to just freelance the independents outside of Ring of Honor, whether he tries to get in Japan independently or going to WWE, or there was always the option that he would quit wrestling altogether and do something in Florida and kind of settle down, because as much as we don't think that guys do leave the wrestling business, sometimes they do. And it's sometimes the people that we don't want to leave the wrestling business that do it. So Roderick Strong, I think, will be in WWE by the end of this year.
Yeah, you talk about people that leave the wrestling business. I did a feature on one earlier this year, Muhammad Hassan. They're calling up all these guys that are 40-something years old.
Yep.
He's 34 right now, which is crazy to think.
He hasn't even hit his prime. Muhammad Hassan was one of those guys who just got screwed. I mean, they put him in a racist storyline, and then once you are done with that, and especially once the network doesn't want it, you can't come back from that. They really did. I mean, they screwed the actor by putting him in a character. And that's one of those glaring ones where 20 years from now, we're going to be talking about what characters screwed the actor they portrayed. And Muhammad Hassan is near the top of that list. And it was really unfortunate because I really liked what he brought to the table. And it looked like he certainly tried. Like he was coming up a little green, but he was still doing very well for himself. And he had the presence. I mean, this is a guy that didn't duck down to Hulk Hogan coming in the ring with him at WrestleMania. This is a guy that had ring presence at an early age. Imagine if he was still in WWE right now, 10 years older and more experienced, how this guy could be over right now in WWE.
He told me, I spoke to him this week, and he told me that after some of the appearances that he's made, he didn't make any appearances for like 5 or 6 years. And he did a couple this year. And he said that it made him glad that he got out when he did, because he's got friends that he worked with that have like memory issues, and they're in pain. And he said that it puts in perspective what it could have been like had he stuck around.
Yeah. Well, and that's an interesting point too, because we all think about how the 80s were just such a hard time and how wrestlers put such a toll on their body. For a lot of the guys, it's worse now. I mean, looking at the style that some of these guys are working, they're going 100 miles an hour. They're doing in 10 minutes what other guys were doing in 60 minutes, and sometimes more. It's definitely a style that's going to take a toll on guys. It hasn't gotten that much better. Sports medicine has gotten better, but you still need sports medicine to get better to fix all the toll that these guys are putting on their bodies. It's great for our enjoyment, but we're going to be 20 years from now thinking, okay, AJ Styles can't walk because of what he did.
It was funny when I talked to Muhammad Hassan this week, Mark Capani. I asked him if he knew that his lawyer from the segment was signed to an NXT deal, and he was in disbelief. He was like, that was 10 years ago. How old is that guy? And I was like, well, he's 31, but he looked older when he was 21, to be fair. That guy being Tommaso Ciampa. But yeah, it was good to catch up with him. Seems to be very happy not being in wrestling. Before we talk about the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, I wanted to talk about NXT tonight. It was very, it fell back into that
be honest
trend. It wasn't good.
It felt like it was a pre-network era NXT episode. It felt like a 2000, what would it have been?
Well, no, it felt like it was an NXT episode from 2.5 months ago.
Well, that too, because we did have a string of theirs, but it really did feel like one of those where the crowd wasn't hot. The crowd was like, "What? We don't know what NXT is yet. It's Florida Championship Wrestling in a different building." It felt interesting. I mean, people love Bayley's return. People, love Shinsuke Nakamura making a wrestling appearance, because it would have been the first match he had at that set of tapings. So the crowd was into it. But it had a very strange feel, especially during the heart of the Oney Lorcan match, where he actually gets the win over Ty Dillinger. I thought the crowd reaction during that one was very strange. I thought they would have been much more into that. They finally did towards the end, but I felt like that had a very strange.
Well, they love Ty Dillinger. They love Ty Dillinger.
Yeah, they do. He's their guy.
What do you think of this damn name?
Oney Lorcan?
Oney Lorcan.
Oney Lorcan. That's right. Oney Lorcan. I think it would have been better if it was Oney Larkin. At least I can say that. Oney Lorcan. Yeah. It's a very strange name.
Why in the hell would they do that?
It stands out a little bit. I mean, it does.
That's such a dumbass name. But so is Dolph Ziggler, and that's like second nature now.
Well, it's no more strange than the name like Opie, and Opie is popular in pop culture. You can do it. It's got to be Oney Lorcan getting the name over. he's got to get the name over. It's going to be a mild step back, but hey, Dolph Ziggler got the name Dolph Ziggler over, and that was like the last real strange one. If Chris Hero was still around, I have no doubt that he would have gotten the Cassius Ohno name over. He just didn't, he got cut out from under him. So I don't know. It's going to be up to him. I think it's okay. I'm not going to discount the name right now. It's just I got to make sure I don't say Oney Larkin all day long.
I thought two of the most entertaining parts of the show was Nia Jax's powerbomb and Austin Aries dancing like he was Christopher Daniels in 2012 TNA. That's really about it. Yeah, Austin Aries turned on No Way Jose. Man, No Way Jose makes Austin Aries look tiny. Very tiny. Also, we had what else? We have Bayley versus Deonna Purrazzo. I thought Purrazzo looked really good. Bayley looked really good, of course. That was fine. Looks like we're heading for a Carmella versus Alexa Bliss match. I'm cool with that. I like both of these girls. I think they both have bright futures. So good for them. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Murphy. Nakamura ran through Murphy. And that was that. A very missable episode of NXT. Nothing really to write home about.
Well, the big thing on the episode was the announcement of Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura happening on July 13th. So that was the biggest part of this episode is we got Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura happening as the lead into the Cruiserweight Classic. So that Wednesday night, July 13th is going to be a really big one. And that's a main event caliber match. And of course, it's going to lead to all the speculation that, Finn Balor with that match happening on July 13th, guess what happens 6 days later? The WWE draft. Could that be the last match in NXT for Finn Balor? It's going to lead to a lot of speculation. And it's crazy because this week, tomorrow is the first date for the Cruiserweight Classic taping. Friday is when they're going to actually tape the Shinsuke Nakamura Finn Balor match. So a lot of this stuff that's being built up for 3-4 weeks down the road, if you really want to, you will know what's going to happen and know all about it in the next 2 days.
Yeah. I'm very excited, interested to see where that goes. I would think that Nakamura beats Balor and Balor moves to the main roster. What says you, Rob?
No, I think Finn Balor is going to move up. I think Shinsuke Nakamura for sure is going to win this one. Well, whoever wins is going to be the one who's not going up at the WWE draft. I don't think both of them go up. Maybe they do. Maybe this is just like a last match for both of them, and they are brought up. I think Finn Balor, it's time to see what he can do on the main roster. Shinsuke Nakamura, if he wins, is probably going to get the main event spot at NXT TakeOver, and whether that's up against Samoa Joe or somebody else, I think it would be Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe and Nakamura is still a big match happening at Brooklyn, and this is one step closer for Nakamura to do that. But yeah, I think the loser of this match is getting drafted the week after this episode airs.
Do you think they will put any sort of rules or regulations on drafting NXT talent on because why wouldn't they select a guy like Nakamura? I thought maybe they could put a thing, they've had to have been signed for 12 months or 18 months.
Oh, come on. Now you're just putting too much thought into it, Sean. I think they're just going to, when an NXT guy gets drafted like Finn Balor is, but oh my God, this guy's been running NXT for so long and long. They won't definitely not on commentary be like, I can't believe Shinsuke Nakamura wasn't drafted, or look at the names in NXT who weren't drafted up. They're just going to hype the guys who are drafted up. And that's what it's going to be. So they'll just, Nakamura will be out of sight, out of mind on the main roster.
Weird?
No.
Anyway, I think it's weird. I think it's weird.
No, you're wrong. It's not.
I'm not wrong. And I am not trash.
You are definitely not trash. You are not trash, sir. You are not. You are.
Ring of Honor.
Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say that you're not trash. You look in there, you're in your room, you're a little stylish, you got your light on, you got your microphone on, you're in your nice red shirt there, and you look like a guy who's about ready to go out on the town styling and profiling.
I look like a guy who is wearing something from freshcleantees.com. It is the best way to buy t-shirts. It's like a shave club, but for super soft, stylish tees. Now, let me tell you guys, personally, it gets really hot in Kentucky in the summer. And then it gets really cold in Kentucky in the summer. It's really hard to predict that. So I don't like to wear some janky shirts that feel like I'm wearing cardboard. I don't like that. I like really soft stuff that works in any kind of weather, hot, cold. mild, muggy, whatever it is. Fresh Clean Tees does that. If you're like me, you have some older t-shirts that have just been beaten down that you need to replace. Fresh Clean Tees is a great way to keep your wardrobe fresh and keep yourself looking sharp. The process is very simple. You choose colors that fit your style. Fresh Clean Tees offers options like Shades of Gray, which is a shipment of black, white, and gray t-shirts, or Wild Style, which features a variety of colors. They also have one called Color Me Bad, which features black, white, and a different colored shirt in each shipment. You can select V-neck, crew neck, or a mix, and you can change your preferences whenever you like. Sometimes you don't want to wear stuff with like designs on the front and back. If you want a WWE shirt, that's really hard to find because they put crap on the back all the time, and it infuriates me. Brand new t-shirts are delivered to you monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly. You choose. No surprises, and you will never get a package that you don't like. There are no overpriced gimmicks like Peruvian cotton, just premium quality at an affordable price. The fit is super comfortable and consistent, my friends. Don't take my word for it. You try it. Rob, you too. Go to freshcleantees.com and use the code.
At the end.
Yeah, I said you better do it. Freshcleantees.com. Use that code wrestling, all caps.
Yeah.
I want to thank Fresh Clean Tees for their support. I love them. They sent me some great stuff. I love it.
I didn't even know what ad I was segueing into or assisting you on. I just knew that, hey, he can work on this.
You are the John Stockton of podcast segues.
All right. Yes. I'm just don't leave me
because you're white.
Don't leave me for the Lakers and, prove that I'm really bad on my own.
Somebody says, what shirt should I get on Pro Wrestling Tees, guys? You should go to prowrestlingtees.com/Sean Ross Sapp. I've got a Catch as Catch Can wrestling shirt up there that I designed, as well as shirts from my fight team as well. So go buy those. Buy lots of them.
Cody Rhodes doesn't have a shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees.
I don't think he's allowed to yet.
He may not. He may never be.
I think you will. Anyway, Ring of Honor Best in the World. I'm covering this show on Friday night. Kicking off the show with, Mark Briscoe. Yeah, I am. I like covering Ring of Honor pay-per-views. I do. Sometimes it's not so fun covering them because it's hard to follow some of it because the action gets kind of fast and furious. We have Mark Briscoe versus Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong's losing this match, Rob.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Mr.
I tried to frame that as a statement and a question.
Mr.
Roderick Strong is losing this match, Rob.
Yeah, you did very good, especially with the eyebrows. I should have stopped talking so people could see the eyebrow action that you were doing right there, the facial expressions. Yeah, Roderick Strong is losing to Mark Briscoe, if you can believe it, in his last appearance. Or he's not. It could be a very good farewell. It could be a farewell like, you were our guy for 13 years. We're going to give you the win over Mark Briscoe, who no one cares about as a single. So, I think he'll lose, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if he wins. Come on now. This is our thank you to Mr. ROH, Roderick Strong. You get a win on your last night.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think Mark Briscoe's winning that, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
IWGP Tag Team Champion Mark Briscoe.
Tag team champions lose all the time in singles matches. New Japan does not need to protect them in singles matches. That's what they do. The singles. The champions do. If you know New Japan, they will lose the singles or the tag champions in singles matches. They do all the time.
Rob, look at my face.
No, well, yeah. I mean, I see your face. It's very odd right now. It actually looks like, I don't even know what it looks like. Okay. Make that face without the facial hair. It's very odd.
I don't think so.
When's the last time you didn't have the facial hair, Sean?
I shaved a few months ago, actually. Yeah, I mean, like not all of it, but like this part of it. Okay. Yeah.
I probably hadn't joined yet.
I don't think you had. I think it was right before. It was like in January or February. Before I started to train, actually, I was like, oh my God, my face is getting so fat. Not really, but I like to pretend that's the reason. But no, I mean, it's just not something I do very often.
Okay. I was just curious.
And maybe, you know what, if I get a razor sponsor, I'll later, whatever. But Until then, sorry. Next up, we have Moose and War Machine versus the Bullet Club. I got, this will, by all means, probably Moose's last night. Think the Bullet Club's going over? I would think so. Adam Cole and the Young Bucks.
I would think so. I think Adam Cole probably gets the pin on Moose. So yeah, I would say you could also do the Young Bucks maybe pinning one of the War Machine guys just to set up some type of tag team program between the two in Ring of Honor anyway. So yeah, and there's a number of situations. All I know is the Moose War Machine team probably is not going to win.
Yeah, I can't see a scenario in which, unless for some reason Moose re-signed.
And this guy Moose, if you're going to leave, if you're going to contemplate offers from somebody else, this guy went through the NFL, gained a reputation for doing business the same way he's doing it in wrestling here. The guy has all the potential in the world, but he's out there showing up, on Instagram with WWE guys, trying to troll audiences, really, that he's going to WWE or working the WWE shows. You're signed to Ring of Honor. He's not now, but he was. Be a professional. Don't make a fool of yourself. What if you ever have to come back there? Don't burn bridges. Walk over them nicely. Don't burn them.
I don't burn my bridges.
This guy Moose.
ACH versus Silas Young. I love Silas Young.
Silas Young's the best.
He is the greatest. Deceptively athletic, that guy. I love the Beer City Bruiser, too. Not deceptively athletic in any way. I would love to see Silas Young win this match. I really would. Also, salty about Ring of Honor changing, remixing ACH's theme. I don't like it. I don't like it anymore.
I'm not a big fan of the new ACH theme. ACH had a cool theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. I don't like it. Silas Young, I hope, gets the win here. They're starting to produce him more in a tag team scene with the Beer City Bruiser, so I don't know if they'll give him a singles win at this point. But Silas Young, ACH, it's a good, lower card match. It's a good one. Probably won't go I would imagine it will go 8 minutes.
Kyle O'Reilly versus Kamatachi. This one's going to be fun.
Finally, main event time.
So, Kamatachi, doesn't really... Has he been on Ring of Honor TV yet at all?
I don't know if he's been on TV. I mean, he's been on shows that have been seen.
And they're web exclusive stuff. Right. I know that.
But yeah, largely he's to a television audience with Ring of Honor, he's largely unknown. To a live event audience, he's been on a lot of these shows. He's starting to get some wins here and there. Kyle O'Reilly, this will be a really big showcase for him because obviously people will pay attention to a Kyle O'Reilly match on pay-per-view. So I would say this is his kind of biggest spotlight so far to date.
You think they bring him in with a big win, or do you think Kyle O'Reilly's going to take it? Because I think, they always could, but he's very talented. But
no.
It's Kyle O'Reilly.
Kyle O'Reilly's getting the win, and Kamatachi is getting the match with Jay White and Jay White's debut that he can win back. So, yeah, I don't think you put him right now up against Kyle O'Reilly to beat him, but it would be cool if they did, because that would mean they're actually going to do something with him. I know a lot of the talk was how poorly they introduced him at front, because Kamatachi kind of had some buzz through a series with Dragon Lee in both New Japan and CMLL. And he was coming in and he was just, put in dark matches and he was put in 4-ways and he was taking the losses in them when he could be an exciting star for them over the next year. So I'm hoping for more from Kamatachi as far as the booking side goes, because if he's given the chance, he will impress a lot of people.
Somebody says, where's Vince Russo? Vince hasn't been on a show in 3 weeks and has never, ever been on one of our midweek podcasts ever in the history of ever.
Right. You're getting trolled, Sean. They're going to be asking, where's Vince? They're going to be asking Vince Russo in a month from now. Where's Vince Russo?
A month from now.
They're going to be asking.
Oh, man. You keep asking a month from now. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead. See if I care.
I'm telling you, they're going to keep asking, Sean.
BJ Whitmer versus Steve Corino. Fight without honor. I hope you all ask where everybody is when they leave.
Whoa, Sean, come on now. No one's doing anything.
BJ Whitmer versus Steve Corino, fight without honor. This has been a slow cooking feud. I mean, Corino missed a lot of time because of the neck injury. This ain't going to be an exciting match, I don't think.
I love Corino, though. I
do
Corino.
too. You know what? I like Whitmer. A lot of people don't like Whitmer. I do. And I thought that when Steve Corino had to leave, I thought that they put this feud on the back burner in the right way, in that Steve Corino just walked into the ring, slugged Whitmer with one punch and knocked him out cold, and then rolled his sleeves back down and left. I thought that was great. I thought that was good. And now maybe Ring of Honor can have Steve Corino stop wearing that dumbass mask to the ring.
Yes.
That's so stupid.
They will. I think the era of the mask is probably over. He can stop being as Mr. Wrestling again.
He stole Vince Russo's TNA gimmick. You don't remember that?
He was Mr. Wrestling before Vince Russo was on screen with a mask.
Really? Was he?
He was Mr. Wrestling. 15 years ago.
Was he? I didn't know that.
Yep.
I'm
going to find out when he started doing the Mr. Wrestling gimmick. I am going to find this out.
Maybe Vince stole
Mr. Wrestling 3 or so. Yep.
Yeah, let's look this up.
Yeah, Mr. Wrestling 3.
I'm seeing it like 2007 and 2008. And Vince was doing
2007.
He stole Vince Russo's gimmick. Vince Russo was Mr. Wrestling in like 2002, 2003. Can you believe that?
Well, fine, Sean.
That somebody would steal the gimmick of a former WCW champion.
Yeah. Right.
That'd be like if there were more than one Nature Boy.
See, what happened was there was Mr. Wrestling. There was Mr. Wrestling 2, who was Johnny Walker, and Mr. Wrestling 3, who was Steve Corino. Tim Woods, obviously the
either way, Corino probably winning this so he can stop wearing that stupid ass mask to the ring.
You are not a fan of at all.
I feel bad for the guy. Okay, so I was on a show last year. I'd never wrestled under a mask before. And to fill up time, we did like this comedy spot, like a 1-minute comedy spot where we had we had a girl dress up as the Ultimate Warrior and squash a masked guy. It was a 1-minute match, and I have never been more gassed in my life wearing that damn mask. It was the worst experience. I hated it. I don't know how anybody wrestles in a damn mask. Now, granted, I get gassed in like in matches without a mask, about a minute and a half. But yeah, that was the worst. I feel bad for Steve Corino having to sit there for 3, sometimes 4 hours in that stupid ass mask.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've never met someone who actually liked wrestling in the mask. They did it because they thought it would be something for their when they first start or whatever, and then they realized, you know what, I probably shouldn't have done that. Yeah, so Vince Russo was Mr. Wrestling for what? The one night where he helped Sports Entertainment Extreme. And then 5 years later, after Steve Corino announced his retirement, he wrestled on as Mr. Wrestling 3, completely ignoring Vince Russo as Mr. Wrestling 3, but wrestled for a little bit longer as the character.
How hard is it to call yourself Mr. Wrestling 4? Somebody says Josh Matthews should be Mr. Wrestling 4. How dare you?
Yeah.
Even put him in the same league with Steve Corino and Vince Russo.
Hey, Russo.
And who the hell was Mr. Wrestling 1 and 2? I don't even know.
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
Come on now. Look. Tim Woods, legendary.
Tim Woods. There we go.
Tim Woods, legendary Mr. Wrestling. Yeah, no, if you are Mr. Wrestling 4, if Steve Corino goes in as Mr. Wrestling 4, then that acknowledges that Vince Russo was a part of the Mr. Wrestling line. And who's going to do that? Nobody. And definitely not Steve Corino.
They should. Also, of course, Johnny Walker was Mr. Wrestling 2.
He was Mr. Wrestling 2. I believe I said both of those when you were trying to.
No, you said. I thought you said Tim Woods.
Tim Woods was 1. Johnny Walker was 2.
Somebody says it was a joke, Sean. No, it was not.
Oh, it was absolutely a joke. It was absolutely a joke.
Somebody says, good job dissing Josh, Sean, flexing your heel muscles. That's a babyface move if I've ever heard it.
Yes, you are correct. What else is on this show, Sean? We've gone into the deep end of all the things to dissect on this pay-per-view. We were dissecting the
Addiction versus Motor City Machine Guns.
Wrestling.
Now the winner of this is facing Beer City Bruiser and Silas Young.
Yes.
Conventional wisdom would lead you to believe that'd be a babyface, but ROH don't give a shit.
No, they don't.
So, I mean, well, conventional wisdom would have said how Addiction probably doesn't get the titles anyway.
Conventional wisdom says that Delirious isn't still the booker of ROH.
That's true. But there is not much conventional wisdom with that.
There's not a lot of conventional wisdom in ROH right now, no.
Not right now, no.
Kamatachi may walk out of the show as the world champion for all I know.
He could.
Unlikely.
So who you got in the tag title match? I'll just say Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, I would go with Motor City Machine Guns too, just to go with them. I don't know. The tag team division has been so weird. Like, it's a surprise right now that the Addiction are even the tag team champions. So, I mean, they won it off of television, like, or at whatever on the TV taping. Obviously, it was taped or whatever, but they won it on.
They didn't air it. They didn't air it.
Okay, they haven't aired it yet. You never know what they're doing.
No.
They're not airing it completely.
They didn't air it. They did one of the, hey, these guys won the titles, and it wasn't on TV. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I missed an episode.
Yeah, it was on that weird. I mean, everyone was paying attention to what the New Japan guys were doing on that tour, so this kind of fell under the radar. At the same time, it was like a big surprise. Like, what the hell's going on? How did the Addiction wind up with the tag team titles? But I think this is probably why, just to get them on the Motor City Machine Guns, to start with something with them. You got your junior tag league coming up at the end of this year. Hopefully one of these teams gets in the tournament. I know Daniels and Kazarian were there before, so hopefully that, if they allow the Motor City Machine Guns to eventually maybe win the tag team titles, hopefully they can get in this tournament or do something with New Japan. Alex Shelley's been there before, and get Chris Sabin in there. Very interesting end of this year for Ring of Honor in their conjunction with New Japan Pro Wrestling. But as far as the tag team scene, it's hard to predict. You never know what Delirious will do. I'd
love for New Japan to do a trios tournament. I think that would be fantastic.
I tell you, it's probably more likely now that they got those Never Trios belts at some point to do some type of tournament. I
want the Motor City Time Splitters so bad.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome, and would completely fit.
Yeah. Somebody sent me a message from where I said that Aries danced like 2012 Daniels. They said that they are getting previously repressed images of Daniels dancing to his bad influence. Why, man? He was a horrible dancer. Like, I can't understate how bad of a dancer that Christopher Daniels was.
But he loves it. And I tell you, if you love dancing, dance. Just dance. Just move your body around. Why not?
You sound like that new Justin Timberlake song.
Just dance.
No, not that one.
Dance like you mean it. I don't know what
somebody says. Somebody says the ratings don't lie, Sean. Rob does not equals ratings. Your show is a sinking ship. Our midweek ratings have never been higher, y'all. Just saying. Yeah. Somebody said, Sean, what happened to the chalkboard? Sponsor changes, and I don't have chalk. So
ran out of chalk.
Just pulled it off the wall.
Oh no.
Yeah. Go figure. Somebody says, I am feeding a puppy right now. Well, you tell your mother we said hello.
I've never heard it referred to as that before. I've never heard it. Oh, that's a new one. I'm going to have to tell the girlfriend that.
Somebody, and it's Rob McCarron that said that, so I'm not going to.
What was the question? Was there a question in the chat that we didn't get to?
Where's Bix?
Oh, these guys keep wanting to, old personalities.
Oh my God. King of Indie style. Somebody says, are you going to talk NJW? Oh yeah. Well, let's get through this best in the world thinks we can talk some Dominion. Bobby Fish, Dalton Castle. I would love if Dalton Castle won this, but he seems like the kind of guy that may never get a title run of any kind because he's one of those. Yeah, until they have to. It's one of those don't need it type of guys. You know what I mean? The Jake the Snake thing.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. That's my assessment of what Dalton Castle is to them. And it's still, well, I would like it to be in the main event scene. I don't know if that gimmick as presently constituted is a main event gimmick compared to what ROH usually does. Eventually, yeah, I think he'll be in the title picture when they have to, more out of necessity than them just building him up. But yeah, Bobby Fish is their guy, and Bobby Fish has the New Japan connection. So Bobby Fish probably isn't losing.
Jay Lethal, Jay Briscoe. Jay Lethal has been Ring of Honor champion for over a year now. And when you combine that with his Ring of Honor TV title reign that led up to that, he has been a champion in the company for over 800 consecutive days. Unheard of in the company. Do you think the reign ends here? I think it continues.
I think it continues too. Like, it was crazy. I heard on Twitter today, and I haven't verified it myself because I didn't think it was possible, but I mean, someone who I trust knows these things posted on Twitter today that Jay Lethal has had 2 singles matches. 2 singles matches on television or pay-per-view since dropping the title to Jay Lethal. 2 singles matches, and here he is finally getting his rematch for the title.
A year later?
Yeah, because he's been in the tag teams with his brother and so forth, and they've done singles matches on non-televised events. But as far as TV and pay-per-view, 2 singles matches in a year after dropping this title, and he's getting the title rematch here. They do sometimes move this title when you don't expect it, so it's hard to predict again. I would keep Jay Lethal with the championship. I don't know if putting it back on Jay Briscoe right now is the right move, but there is turmoil in ROH with guys leaving. Moose, Roderick Strong. Maybe it's time to reshuffle the title picture in their mind, even though they're not really reshuffling it. Or, well, they are reshuffling it. It's the same deck. They're just reshuffling it. Jay Briscoe getting the championship. Maybe you move Jay Briscoe and Jay Lethal as your main program down the line. I still think Adam Cole fits in somewhere here, so I don't know if they're going to give the singles title to Jay Briscoe. I think Jay Lethal wins.
Also worth noting that their title defenses, well, Lethal is scheduled to face Briscoe Friday, Kyle O'Reilly Saturday, and Cabana July 16th. King of Indie Style asks if we see him retaining in all those matches. I do.
All 3.
I do.
Yep.
Yeah.
All 3. Because at this point, build it to Final Battle. Build Jay Lethal to Final Battle. You're only 5 months away from it. You might as well.
He also says Ciampa was the lawyer. What? Yeah. Tommaso Ciampa was Daivari and Hassan's lawyer on TV.
Yes, he was. Crazy. With hair. That back when he had, I think he had the hair at that point, right? He had no beard and he had the hair. And then he's just reversed it because now he has the beard and no hair, and he looks like a whole different person. But yeah, that was Tommaso Ciampa when he was back in his developmental days.
Somebody says NXT TV sucks. Takeover's amazing, but the TV is straight bad. Not all the time. Of late, it's been pretty good.
It's not always bad, but it's largely unimportant sometimes, especially when you're right now in the middle of June and your pay-per-view Takeover isn't until the middle of August. We have 2 months to go. We have 2 more TV tapings. So this was the TV taping where they weren't going to do anything. They're just, let's film 3 weeks of TV to get us over. We're not really going to do much of anything. So yeah, this is, you're going to get this, and you're going to get it next week too. You're going to get it the next week after that too. You're not getting important stuff right now. July 13th is when you'll start getting important stuff again.
777 asks, do you think WWE planned on covering the drug test or the failed wellness violation, or the wellness violation of Reigns, but it got leaked, so they had no choice? No, they don't cover. By all accounts, they don't cover that stuff up.
I love that. That was the craziest, somewhat of a rumor that I saw over this time, that WWE was going to cover it up, but it had to be released because it leaked. I'm like, no, WWE was the first to report it, by the way.
Yeah.
And WWE was the first one that actually said, Roman Reigns came out with his little statement on Twitter. Were they going to cover it up? No. If they knew on Sunday, they didn't have to announce it Sunday because they give the talent 72 hours. It's in the wellness policy. They give them 72 hours to either produce documentation to state why they may have failed the wellness policy, to get a second opinion, whatever the case may be. So it all fits within the timeline. What makes this timeline so strange is how they actually booked him on Sunday night and on Monday. It's all weird as far as the timeline goes, but the actual wellness policy violation, no, it was not going to get covered up. You can be a conspiracy theorist and think John Cena gets tested all the time and fails, and they don't want to take him off TV. But we've gotten guys pop for stuff like this before. Roman Reigns, guys that you thought were big deals. Yeah, I believe it's legit. I don't think WWE wants to get in a situation where they can be proven that they mismanaged this policy and that something happened. I don't think they want to get in that position. So I think it's as legit as can be. Are guys probably taking things and get around it due to whatever? Probably. They do in all the sports. But is WWE trying to hide people who fail? I don't think so one bit.
We had New Japan's Dominion show. We started off with, I thought, a few very missable matches. Hangman Page and Yujiro Takahashi and Bad Luck Fale beating Makabe, Yoshitatsu, and Captain New Japan. This was to help establish Adam Page, sure. Tomohiro Ishii and Yoshihashi beat Seiya Sanada and Bushi. One of the things I always hear is people say, well, TNA could have used Sanada better. Well, he was their X Division champion for like 4 or 5 months, which is a lot better than I would have expected them to use him even. So there's that, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Yoshihashi.
Okay.
Not a big fan of him.
All right.
That was an okay match. It was just fine. Hiroki Goto beat Evil. I think Evil has just continued to improve. He's kept getting better and better. Didn't think that I would ever like his work. Really didn't. But it seems like, even New Japan's falling into the 50-50 booking. Because didn't Evil beat Goto clean in their last match?
They do that sometimes, yeah. The mid card, they can kind of do that, especially if they wanted to travel around a little bit. They're not usually doing 50-50 booking. You have a clear winner, because 50-50 booking is not the same when you have one guy win all his matches until a title match. Say Okada and Naito, and we're going to get to it. Okada and Naito, they may face off 3 times throughout the year, and those first 2 they split, but in between they were all winning their matches. That's not 50-50 booking like WWE, where Kevin Owens will beat Dolph Ziggler one night and lose to Baron Corbin the next night, and then beat Zack Ryder and then lose to Baron Corbin again, or beat someone and lose again. They don't generally do the 50-50 booking, but sometimes in the mid-card guys, you're going to get splits. And a lot of times that's because of something that'll happen much, much later. You can get a payoff match, a rubber match between these guys. You can get a situation where maybe Evil wins a championship, and now, Makabe, who's had the feud with them, he's on the way to that title. And you have Evil beating Makabe all these times, but now Makabe's earned a shot. Will it be the same case, or will Makabe finally get that big win? So generally, they're done for a reason. Not always, but generally.
King of Indie Style says something I agree with. Paige needs to stop doing that stupid shooting star headbutt. I agree. That is a dumbass move. I've said that every time. And somebody tweeted me and said, "Did Bix hack your account?" Okay. Well, that's dumb, first off. But a shooting star headbutt is so pointless.
It is. It's
so
stupid.
Pointless.
It's dumb. You're going to come down at the same speed with the head.
Maybe less speed.
Maybe less. Yeah, because of all the flips with the Z. It's stupid. It's flashy. But Adam Page is finally getting on the big stage now. I think he can start wearing away from those super flashy moves just to be flashy. It's your time. Be safe now. Wrestle the way you should wrestle on the big stage. But if he thinks that's going to be the only way that he gets over, the only way that he keeps his spot, then he's going to keep doing them. You don't have to. You shouldn't. Shooting star headbutt. Come on, Adam Page.
I hate it.
Young Bucks Page.
Young Bucks won the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag titles. From,
they did.
Over Roppongi Vice, Red Dragon, Matt Sydal, and Ricochet. This was okay. Not as good as many of those matches that I've seen. But
I hate the 4-ways. I hate them.
They've done them to death.
Give me some one-on-one. I even like the 3-ways a little bit better, but these 4-ways, because it just makes everything so unimportant. Like these guys, none of them the top dogs, so we're just going to give them all a shot. We get these 4-ways way too much, and we don't need them.
It feels like it happens at every big show to me.
Every big show. Wrestle Kingdom will have a 4-way. All the big shows, like the biggest ones of the bunch, they do these 4-ways with these multi-mans, and it's sickening. You don't need to do it. It's not as good, but they want to get everyone on the show, and they want to do these spot fests to show what the juniors can do. To show what the juniors can do, put the Young Bucks up against Sydal and Ricochet. Put the Young Bucks up against Red Dragon. And one of the other issues is the fact that if they did that, they'd be doing that a lot, because right now they have the same 4 teams. Thank God Matt Sydal and Ricochet came in, because otherwise it would be the same teams as last year and the same teams as the year before that. They need some new blood. That's why I hope the Motor City Machine Guns come in at the later stage of this year, because at least they'll be somewhat fresh in this tag team division. But then they'll be inserted into a 4-way at Wrestle Kingdom.
Now, before we get into the really good stuff that happened in this match or in the show, will the Guerrillas of Destiny ever have a good match? Ever?
No, never.
I don't think so either.
They will never have a good match as long as Tonga Loa is there. And God bless these Haku kids, but Tonga Loa just isn't the guy. And this was a guy that, I mean, Tonga Loa for his last, 2 years in WWE was all he was doing was riding alongside a bicycle.
Yeah.
Get him out of here.
Much better than what he's doing now, actually, as far as content.
Some guys just don't have it. Some guys just don't have it. It's okay to let them go.
And it's a shame because Tama Tonga looked like he was going to take a step up with the exit of Gallows and Anderson and Nakamura and Styles.
He's actually been dropped down a peg. He's been lowered because of his association with Tonga Loa, and it will rub off on him. That this is going to be something where these tag team matches are going to be so bad, it will rub off on him negatively. And it's a shame because he was starting to look really good at the end of 2015. He was starting to get some wins in multi-man matches. We thought maybe a singles run in some type of way, the Never title or the Intercontinental title even. I mean, God, Michael Elgin's in the Intercontinental title picture, and we'll see what happens later on. Tama Tonga could have been someone in that picture if he was, pulled up a little bit. But this Tonga Loa situation is not helping him. And sometimes it's okay to fire a guy who just doesn't have it. Maybe it's the best thing for him because he gets a chance to go actually see what he can do on the outside of wrestling. Maybe something he's a little bit better prepared for. I would always, when I was managing people and I had to let someone go, I'd be like, hey, don't look at it as a negative. This is now the chance where you can find what you really want to do because this wasn't for you. I don't want to keep you here and spend your days wasting away in a position that you weren't going to be fulfilled in. Go find what you're really passionate about. Tonga Loa, your time is up.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. We're running out of time, but I definitely wanted to talk about these very good matches.
How is it 10 o'clock already?
Yeah, Kushida defeated Will Ospreay. Even in losses so far, Will Ospreay has looked like a superstar. I love Kushida. I think he's incredible. They shook hands after the match. This was outstanding.
Outstanding match, but it elevates Kushida because Will Ospreay was the star of the Best of the Super Juniors. So Kushida just beat the guy that was the star of the tournament. He was the star of the tour because Will Ospreay got a big win. He got the big win at Korakuen against Ricochet. So Will Ospreay from this tour is elevated. He didn't win the championship. He's lost now twice to Kushida for the title. That's okay. Because this is the long road. This is a guy who signed a long contract with New Japan. He can get a title shot later on, and when he finally does win, it will be a huge deal. And it just goes to show what New Japan does in the long term with some of their guys. Is you can see him getting better. You can see him getting wins at some points. When he puts it all together, that will be the story. Like Will Ospreay will be a world beater when he finally gets that championship after putting it all together. It's something to look forward to a year from now. But this match elevated both of the guys.
Big fan of Will Ospreay, big fan of Kushida.
Yeah.
And much like the Kyle O'Reilly Kushida matches, I don't think I'll ever get tired of them. Shibata beat Yuji Nagata to retain the never open weight title.
To win it.
To win that. Shibata got a choke on, and Nagata it was like shades of Holly Holm how he flipped, but Shibata kept the choke on, and then Shibata hit the penalty kick and beat him. Should Nagata have ever won this title, or should Nagata have won this from Shibata to begin with?
Yes. Yeah, this story works.
That was a good call.
It shows that, Nagata still had something left, and Shibata couldn't take the veterans lightly, and he's got to really earn this title and earn the chance to keep it. So Nagata gets the win. Now Shibata is coming in more focused. He knows that Nagata is no pushover. Comes in, gets the win. Nagata's time is basically passing the torch to Shibata. So it served its purpose in a lot of ways. Yeah, this was absolutely a story that I think was well told, and it works for Shibata because now he's not going to take these old guys lightly. If he's in there with the Nakanishis or the Tenzans again, he beats him every time, and now you know that, hey, Shibata's really serious about being this champion. He's not in there just to beat people up. He's seriously in there to keep that title, and it's going to come into play at Wrestle Kingdom where it's going to be a huge match. You may have wondered before, hey, does Shibata really take this title seriously, or is he just in there to hurt people? Well, now we know he's in there to keep that title seriously.
Kenny Omega and Michael Elgin had a great goddamn ladder match. Pardon my French.
It was great. And now
you know what my favorite spot was? Do you know what my favorite spot was?
What, the entrance?
No, that table spot.
Yeah.
Because those tables were not meant to be broken in any way.
They never are. They don't do the gimmick tables out there.
So Kenny Omega puts these two tables together and falls off the ladder and bounces like a super ball onto the floor. It was my favorite spot. 33 and a half minutes this match.
It went super long, and this was the first match where you really said, okay, obviously Michael Elgin wins. He's the new Intercontinental Champion.
outstanding. That's huge for him.
It's a surprise a little bit because obviously he wasn't even supposed to be in this match. And I think Omega probably would have kept the title if it was the original match against Tanahashi. So now you get some mileage out of Elgin and Omega. You get some mileage out of that. The fact that the Young Bucks are the tag team champions for the juniors and Kenny Omega no longer has a belt, that elite dynamic comes into play here because now the two guys who didn't have the belt have them, and the one guy who was the leader kind of doesn't have his belt anymore. So there's a lot of mileage you can get out of this. There's a lot of mileage you can potentially get from an Elgin-Tanahashi match because Tanahashi has been the mentor for Michael Elgin. Michael Elgin gets the title, and Tanahashi is not just going to be like, okay, cool, you have the title. I'm not going to fight you for it. At some point, you're going to get that match. I would imagine it might even happen at Wrestle Kingdom. Hopefully, Tanahashi heals up and is okay to go. It's looking like he might even be doubtful for the G1 and further. But this a crazy victory. Michael Elgin gets the win. It's not the last we've seen of Kenny Omega, obviously, but a huge stepping up point for Michael Elgin. This guy is here to stay, and you can officially now stop calling him an ROH guy. He is now a New Japan guy who occasionally guests on Ring of Honor, but he is a New Japan talent.
Hell yeah, he is, and he fits in so great there. Good for him, because I barely watched Ring of Honor, and I was sick of Michael Elgin. I was sick of him. Didn't care to see him. He went to Japan and reinvented his career. It was great. This ladder match was great. A weekend full of great ladder matches. So that was awesome. Okada beat Naito to regain the IWGP heavyweight title. I loved the match. I don't like Naito losing that title, though.
I'm fine with it because this is always a guy that, they still play him like he's not a top tier guy, right? He's a guy who's lucky to get there because he's got 3 flackies there helping him out. And here you are one-on-one. And the story with Okada, there's a great story out there. Google it, Okada's stage. There's a great story out there that was written by a guy named Rich Craig. And it talks about this whole long story about how Kazuchika Okada, who had Geto's help a lot of the times, like Okada was defending the belt and winning the belt with Geto there at ringside, didn't have him there this time. He was the face of New Japan finally. He beat Tanahashi earlier this year to become the new ace, if you will, of New Japan. But tonight, or this Dominion show was really the first night where he had the stage all to himself. He wins the championship. There's no Geto there to do the promo. He does the show closing promo. This was still the continuation to the story of Kazuchika Okada reigning supreme at New Japan. And now it also allows Tetsuya Naito to try to refocus, maybe take this title more seriously, because he never did take the title seriously. He won it, was throwing the belt around, breaking it. He didn't take it seriously. Maybe the story comes that he starts to take it seriously throughout G1 time. Maybe he wins the G1, and at Wrestle Kingdom, we have Naito and Okada in the rubber match, because really what we are still 1-for-1. No guy has shown supremacy yet between the two of them. We're 1-for-1. We can see that rubber match for the title at Wrestle Kingdom. I think it's going to be a huge main event of Tokyo. So I am completely fine with him losing here. I wasn't that surprised. I didn't think Naito was going to lose, but here we are. And now the G1's coming. So Naito immediately becomes the favorite to win that.
So you think he wins the G1, then gets the shot at...
Yeah. No, I do, because ever since Naito won the belt, I thought Okada and Naito was clearly the main event in mind for the 2017 Wrestle Kingdom. I thought that was the main event. And this doesn't change that. They can still go on a collision course for them being the main event of that show. And you can also, if Okada is in Tetsuya Naito's block, we have them facing off during the G1. Naito wins. There you go. Now this is a guy who's actually got one up on Okada, but doesn't have the belt. So there's a number of different things you can do. Yeah, I absolutely think that's the main event of Wrestle Kingdom coming up on January 4th.
And I mean, if that's the case, then... when was the last time Okada and Tanahashi didn't main event Wrestle Kingdom?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. So since they've made this expansion sort of with an American audience, this will probably be their first taste of seeing that at a Wrestle Kingdom. So that'll be very interesting. I'm a big fan of Naito, another guy who I did a complete 180 on. Guys, we will be back Monday after Raw.
That's a good mute job you just did there.
Yeah, I had to cough. I want to thank FreshCleanTees.com for sponsoring this great show. I love their product. These are so comfortable. So go get some. Use that code WRESTLING with all caps at freshcleantees.com. Follow Rob at Shake Them Ropes. Follow me at Sean Ross Sapp. Join me Friday night for Ring of Honor Best in the World coverage. Until next time, guys, we are out.
Bye.